I don't need that. Welcome back, Santa Clarita Valley. We're here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS, on the Neighborhood Watch, brought to you by All American Bail Bonds, where twice a month we talk about Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station outreach, crime prevention, public safety awareness, and as of right now, Justin Powell's Twitter page, because there's some questionable pictures on there for a community radio presence.
Wow.
Oh, boy. What's going on? What's the explanation there, Justin? Don't act like you don't have a mic in front of you.
He's speechless.
Why are you wearing shades? Why are you wearing shades at night?
That what happens on vacations in Costa Rica, it should be like Vegas. It should stay in Costa Rica. Now, granted, it is on Twitter, but...
Exactly. When you put it out on social media, it no longer stays in Vegas, my friend.
That's true.
That's Costa Rica.
That's also or Costa Rica.
I think that's something that the world is embracing.
I've never understood. I've never felt comfortable wearing sunglasses. Partly because I'm not cool, and partly because it only makes me look pastier. But
what happens?
The sunglasses, I see people wearing them at night. What is the advantage there? Is there like the glare from neon lights? Does it give you headaches? Is it a migraine thing?
Obviously, when you're in the club, okay?
Oh.
When you're up in the club, and all those,
like is that 50 Cent
flashing lights? That was 50 Cent to Kanye.
Okay.
Wow.
So. Well, glad we got to the bottom of that. I'm sorry, listeners.
Me too. Speaking of social media, you pulled a couple things off social media that...
Your Twitter page has been quite active.
Well, I mean,
JDLASD.
we try and the sheriff station. We try and put out a lot of stuff going on in the community. So, you have a couple stories.
Yes, I do.
Go with story number one.
We want to talk about suicide prevention and how some volunteers and some deputies work to help save a life.
Absolutely.
You were aware of that. You weren't at the scene, right?
Correct.
But
I wasn't at the scene, but I was aware of it. So we have a volunteer on patrol program. Volunteers on patrol act as our eyes and ears. They wear a uniform. It's a white shirt with blue pants. They drive an all-white car with like an orangish light bar on the top. Is
this a station-wide squad? Does each sheriff station have their own team of volunteers?
Yes.
And there's a volunteer captain, right? Or
well, the volunteers. This is different than reserve. Reserve deputy.
I wanted to clear that up.
Go ahead.
No, because there's the sheriff's department reserves that get $1 a year, and they're part of the search and rescue team, right? Or they could be, or other.
Or patrol, yeah. And they have gone through the sheriff's academy and different things like that. The volunteers on patrol are trained in-house at a station level. This is a sheriff's department program that's throughout the county. These people volunteer with the sheriff's station just solely because they love it and they want to serve their community. They don't get paid. And so we have many different capacities that you can work as a volunteer. However, part of it is the volunteer on patrol program. So volunteer on patrol program, oftentimes they'll do vacation checks and do a bunch of other tasks to free up deputies. So obviously, they're working for free to serve their community. So they do these tasks to free up deputies. So as they were driving from one location to another location you have the date on there on the story, but apparently they saw a woman hanging off the side of a bridge in the Flying Tiger Sierra Highway area in Canyon Country.
When you say hanging, she was leaning against the rail, right? Like a leaning back kind of situation?
Right, leaning back, but...
Like it wasn't actually like,
No, leaning back, but preparing to jump off the bridge. And the distance down, obviously, would have been a fatal jump. I was
trying to figure out off Flying Tigers. That's a pretty, that's a couple stories at least.
Oh, yeah. So these volunteers on patrol, they do have access to the Sheriff's Department radio, our radio network. And so they were able to get on the radio. They were able to request that Canyon Country patrol deputies immediately respond, which they did. So now the volunteers on patrol are there speaking with the woman, trying to talk her down off the ledge, and deputies respond. While they were having the conversation, apparently a deputy saw the opportunity to grab a hold of her and pull her off the ledge.
Obviously, a happy ending there, best case scenario. So, and then if deputies are made aware of somebody who might be, threatening to hurt themselves, then I believe that would want to be one of the conditions they could qualify you for a psychiatric evaluation, or medical situation.
And that's ultimately what happened. This individual was transported to the hospital for medical treatment. And then, you posted the story on hometownstation.com, but then you went into kind of more important than that, although that is important, more important than that, you put in some suicide prevention hotlines and tips and different things like that, which is something, it's uncomfortable to talk about, but it's something that certainly does need to be talked about. So.
And generally, the media doesn't like to report on suicide situations because studies have shown repeatedly over the years that those types of reports encourage more people to suicide. That they see it as an option, and it humanizes the thing. And there's a lot of different studies that they've done on that to show why media. It's not really helpful all the time to report, but certain things we do want to get the word out about, which is that there are options out there if you're thinking about hurting yourself or experience massive depression or have emotional issues. There's the National Suicide Prevention Line, Lifeline, which is 1-800-854-7771. The Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health at 1-800-784-2433. And then you can also contact locally here in the Santa Clarita Valley. We have the Child and Family Center at 661-259-9439. And for those younger experiencing those types of issues, there's the Santa Clarita Valley Youth Project, which is also 661-257-9688. So again, there are resources out there. In an emergency situation, you are definitely encouraged to call 911 always. But just wanted to let people know about those resources. We're going to take a quick commercial break from our sponsor, All American Bail Bonds, but we'll be right back after this commercial break on your Neighborhood Watch. Welcome back, Santa Clarita Valley, on your Neighborhood Watch, brought to you by All American Bail Bonds. Deputy Josh Dubin with me in the studio. He's managing all aspects of production with the show. Great job with the music, Justin.
Yeah,
that didn't go unnoticed.
He cut it sooner.
Transitions were perfect.
It's a learning experience around here.
It is.
We've been doing the show for a year and a half, and we're still learning.
Gosh, has it only been a year and a half? It feels like so much longer.
Feels like an eternity, let me tell you.
But we're all about the message and the outreach, and you had some interesting stuff. You're big on the social medium.
Well,
Facebook.
I find it interesting. Personally, I find it social media stories interesting. And I recently posted, or I reposted from a study that study finds using Facebook can lead to...
That's the website, just study?
No, it was a KTLA story.
Okay.
But I think KTLA got it from CNN.
Okay.
So everybody's just reposting from reposting to reposting. But anyways, it was a study.
And reposting.
And I reposted.
And here we are.
It's a study. Study finds using Facebook can lead to envy and serious depression. Constantly checking Facebook to see what your friends are doing could lead to some serious depression. A recent study conducted by researchers at a university that I can't pronounce, and I'm not going to try, live on the air, found that heavy Facebook users can experience envy. Oh, you're going to try and give it a whirl? What is that word right there?
That has to be Nanyang. Nanyang Technological University, which is on foremost of most people's minds, I think, for social media topics. When you think of it, it's almost synonymous. Nanyang University.
Is that true?
No, I've never heard of that before in my life.
I was about to say. Anyways,
but continue.
Basically,
there was a couple other universities on there that I had never heard of, but go ahead.
The researchers surveyed 736 college students and found that basically if you quietly stalk your friends, Barry Smith, on Facebook, and they realize that their life doesn't measure up to theirs, your life doesn't measure up to theirs, you feel bad about yourself.
And I have my theory on that is that they're blaming the medium and not the messenger. I'm probably butchering that saying, but here's the thing: is those people are using Facebook to they have their own self-confidence issues and they're projecting that on. Oh, this person's got. I mean, the grass is always greener, right?
Okay, but
there's always a nicer car than the '93 Tercel out there.
That's true. But however, whenever,
but I don't let that get me down.
That's true. But whenever, up until recently, has there been an avenue or a platform that you could
sit there and watch people be more successful than you?
Yeah. I mean, if you drive down the street and there was no Facebook, and you're driving down the street in your 89 Toyota Tercel, and you see a Maserati next to you, okay, maybe you feel envious, maybe you don't. It's just that's your thing. But now you go on Facebook and you're constantly being
And the guy driving that Maserati was the guy that picked on you in high school?
Maybe or maybe not. However, but now
and then it spirals.
Now you have this platform that I just found it interesting. I'm not saying that it is right or isn't right, or you should feel envious or you shouldn't. But we were just talking about depression and different things like that. That was a segue to it. But so now you have all these different things in social media that are now coming on the scene. Now we're years into social media. Who knows what's going to happen in another 10 years? It's just interesting.
Definitely, the psychological and societal effects are interesting and worth studying. So we'll see what Nanyang University produces going forward.
Exactly. And some of the social media talks that I do for our local students and for their parents, talk about cyberbullying and different things that young people post to be mean, basically, to other young people. So that's one aspect of it. But now you're constantly blasted. Perry Smith sitting here with his 89 Toyota Tercel, which I'm not
still a 93.
I'm not downplaying your 87 Toyota Tercel. I'm just saying now there's a platform for you to be blasted with that.
And I'm okay with that.
So you're saying that the survey is flawed?
No, well, I think that the basic premise is flawed, yeah, because I think that, people can use any number of things to make themselves bad about themselves or better about themselves. What about the people that are looking on Facebook to look at the person they figured wouldn't be successful in high school and now found out that they are, in fact, working at, some crappy job that's not as good as yours? And I'm just saying it cuts both ways.
But are you saying that? Well, I don't know.
I'm saying you can also use it to make yourself feel better about yourself. Go to the Walmart Facebook page. You'll feel better about life. I promise you.
That's shameful.
Let's break it out on a positive note, though. Talk about another tweet that you put out again because you're so active at JDLSD. You spent the morning with the Domestic Violence Center of the Santa Clarita Valley doing some outreach and some work with them. It's a great organization. DVC-SCV.com.
Is that a hyphen or an underscore?
It is a hyphen.
Are you sure?
Yes, I do know the difference. I'm very well versed in the difference between a hyphen and an underscore.
He's very well versed.
Thank you, Nan Yang. Start throwing your studies out here and then questioning my grammar. Okay. DVC-SCV.com. But tell us what you were doing out there.
Well, every few months they train, the Domestic Violence Center has counselors and advocates, workers, a bunch of different people that want to work with the Domestic Violence Center. And so they get all these blocks of information and they go through an in-house training program. And one of those blocks is chatting with law enforcement about how we handle domestic violence calls from the minute that we receive a domestic violence call at the sheriff's station to how we dispatch the calls and so on and so forth. So I was able to talk to them, kind of give them a law enforcement perspective, had an open dialogue back and forth. It was actually really interesting. I like to hear some of their stories and what their perceptions are on law enforcement and kind of, give them some information and what we do. So
awesome. Well, that is a great organization. Love Linda Davies. Give her a shout out, the executive director over there at the center.
We should have her on the show.
We should.
I agree.
We should. DVC-SCV.com. So check it out. Also, Sheriff Station, you can follow them on Facebook. You can check them out on Twitter at JDLASD. Myself at Perry R. Smith. We tweet out about Sheriff Station activity all the time and what's going on in the community, so you should definitely
Last question
go check it out. Oh, go ahead.
Who's going to win the Mayweather fight?
Pacquiao.
Really?
Yeah, there we go.
Wow, that's a bold statement. Kyle shaking his head no. Justin? Mayweather? Pacquiao? Pacquiao?
Thank you.
Wow.
That's 2-2?
Wow. And what is Kyle's vote?
Oh, he's a Mayweather guy all the way.
Wow.
I'm old school. Pacquiao's going to surprise some people. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today. We've talked about all the outreach we can. We've talked about all the Sheriff Station crime prevention we can. So lock it or lose it, Santa Clarita Valley. Josh, thanks. Another great show.
Outstanding.
Thank you, Jared McKenna, from the city for talking to us about safe youth parenting activities. Check out that workshop March 12th at the Santa Clarita Activity Center. This is your Neighborhood Watch, brought to you by All American Bail Bonds on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.